We hold these words for the people until the day I see us treated equal. This ain't my America. Look at all the laws they created, from slavery to mass incarceration.
Hello guys, my brother just farted and it seems like but I don't know why he's sitting next to me, but he knows that he can't be in the video today because this is my reaction. I did 2 videos. I did a guest thing.
I got 0 points.
I did a scare thing. I did guest part 2.
I got 0 points in the part 2.
The only 3 videos again posted is this one. Only reason I'm doing the mystery death of Tupac Shakur. I will do another video on Tupac Shakur, which is probably like a documentary, because I like Tupac. I like the old school rappers. I don't like none of these new rappers because I think these new rappers are the whole reason why us kids today are going to jail. Or going to jail or smoking weed and selling drugs. I think it's because of new rappers, because we fall for their crap. We say lie a lot. If you got issue with it, then go cry your mama.
Deal with it.
But the only reason I'm doing the Tupac thing is because, well, today's his birthday, so happy 40th birthday. I think he turns 40. And everyone go check out All Eyes on Me. I heard it was bad, but I don't care what a celebrity say because it's a celebrity. Now, if I have to see it for myself, but y'all should go check it out. You know, support the film, I guess. Support. And
yes, Zion has a pig on set.
And support the director himself who made the movie. But besides that, guys, before we get started, also I want to explain my theory on how really Tupac died. Which they don't mention my theory because first time I watched this already, but I just thought maybe why not? I didn't really watch the full thing because I fell asleep on the half one. The reason I know they mentioned mine is because in the script, the comments, they actually thought my theory was probably been correct, but
what was your theory?
I feel like everyone else feel like this man got killed by Suge Knight. Or can you shut up? Who else would he get killed by?
No one who might have actually survived.
I feel like Suge Knight. There was a lot of evidence with Suge Knight probably killing Tupac because first off, Suge was the one that told Tupac that Anderson was in there. He was the guy who did it, but they didn't really have proof that if Anderson really did it. I don't think. Nor did they say that Tupac even knew if Anderson did it. They just that Suge Knight assumed. Anderson was actually sitting there in video cameras and stuff like that they were showing where he was just standing there like he was waiting for Tupac to punch his behind. Then after that, supposedly Suge Knight pulled Tupac off, but if you look in the camera, Tupac literally took like probably 2 hits on the dude, and that was it. Because in the camera, it shows him falling down, and then they started to fight. Which then when it shows the camera, Tupac falls back after doing a second hit. And everyone else started going on, so did Suge Knight. I feel like Suge Knight wasn't really helping. And then there was more evidence where people have saw Suge Knight actually leave the fight after the fight to go make a phone call. And then here's the other part that I think reason why. Tupac wasn't even going to ride in the car with Suge Knight. Suge Knight insisted that he sit in the passenger seat with Tupac, which his people, his entourage, and people who left the club heard Suge Knight say it because they stayed for Tupac. And he actually said that he wanted Tupac to sit with him in the passenger seat. And then here's a big question, which they'll probably say, I think they did because someone also said that. How did they know Tupac was on the right side of the car? Now you gotta think when it comes to that. This is my theory before we get started. I know it's already 4 minutes in the video, but I just want to explain my theory. You have to think about that because how would they really know Tupac was on the right? I mean, they claim that they heard girls screaming his name, but they didn't really know. And they didn't even know if it was the right car.
Like
and they didn't, like I said,
a bundle of
and like I said, Tupac could have been driving the car. You didn't know what side he pulled on. And there's been people who actually said both lanes were full of cars. but the dude said the car wasn't full. Then I looked at some videos of Orlando Anderson. There's two different versions of him. I don't know why. There's one version where he's a lot darker and he doesn't, and it's not his and it does not look like his head, like how my head kind of got like a chin, probably get an anime chin, but his chin is kind of like that, like mine, and it didn't look nothing like that on the first video. So I'm assuming he got set up, and what a lot of people think, the all eyes on me dude, which I'm not gonna say ain't true because he really do look like Tupac. And I mean, the guy who plays Biggie don't really look like Biggie. Biggie, can't you see? You know that guy. You know that guy. Well, they don't really. He don't really look like Biggie, but this guy looked exactly like Tupac. Not saying Tupac didn't kill him, didn't die, but they also said Tupac read a book where this guy faked this.
I was talking.
That faked his death. That's what I'm talking about. You interrupt me, but then when I'm on your channel doing video games because you ain't old enough to play the games that are mine, or mama won't let you because they say you're supposed to be 18 to have a channel. I don't interrupt you and you interrupt me. That ain't cool. And you didn't ask to be in the video. You gotta stop doing that. Or else I invited you in the other one because it said you can have a partner and you really want to be in it, so I'll let you be in that one. But yeah, I feel like it was Suge Knight. I feel like it was Suge Knight that killed Tupac. I feel like he set him up and he got him killed. I really don't think it was no coincidence. A lot of people think it was government because supposedly they were already watching Tupac from before, but besides that, we'll go ahead and get this video started and we'll get ready to, I guess, figure out how Tupac died.
Unsolved, we're covering the mysterious deaths of Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls, starting with Tupac. Right now, we're on our way to Las Vegas and eventually Los Angeles to cover some of the spots where this all went down. As always, that's Brent, and we brought along our friend Deja, who's about wrong to
He just got a laugh camera.
I'm more of a Tupac fan, but
irrelevant.
Anyway, you're irrelevant.
Anyways, let's get into it. On September 7th, 1996,
I'll put my
at the
headphones
MGM
in.
Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, Tupac Shakur attended a Mike Tyson boxing match. After the match, Tupac left with Suge Knight, who at the time was CEO of the West Coast record label, Death Row Records, the label that Tupac was signed to. However, on their way out, Tupac and his bodyguards got into a fight with Orlando Anderson in the lobby of the MGM Casino.
In the lobby?
In the lobby of MGM. Orlando Anderson was a member of the Compton-based Southside Crips gang. After the brawl, Suge Knight and Tupac left in Knight's car with Tupac's entourage following in cars behind them. While stopped at a traffic light at the intersection of Flamingo and Koval, a white Cadillac pulled up on the passenger side of Knight's car and shot out of the window, hitting Tupac 4 times and grazing Knight in the head with a bullet fragment. In 2014, 18 years after the shooting, Chris Carroll, a now retired Las Vegas Police Department sergeant, came forward to say he was first at the scene.
Wow, for 18 years.
If I was a cop, I wouldn't necessarily say in a public way that I was the first person.
All right.
Own, Deja.
Shut up.
According to Carroll, when he opened the car door, Tupac fell out of the car covered in blood, and Carroll asked, quote, "Who shot you?" and states that Tupac took a breath to respond and said, quote, "Fuck you," before slipping into unconsciousness, making those Tupac's last words.
Since we're like right here, there's like no way. 11:56.
Look how many cars right now at 11:56. On a Friday that's not nearly as busy as a Tyson fight.
There's no way. Like if I heard those gunshots, it would just be like.
You'd look where it was, right?
Yeah.
Tupac was taken to the University Medical Center and placed on life support in a medically induced coma. And on September 13th, 1996, 6 days after the shooting, Tupac died due to his injuries at the age of 25.
Whoa, 25? I didn't realize he died so young.
Both of them died.
Yeah,
so
he
young.
died at 25, Biggie Smalls died at 24.
I think that's what was so heartbreaking about it, is that there were these two young black males on the rise and like they just got snatched up.
Yeah, that's where it happened.
Huh?
That's where he died. One strange fact is that the Las
Who?
Vegas police never arrested anyone in connection with the murder. They also failed to follow up on Yaki Gaddafi, a member of Tupac's entourage who was there that evening who claimed he could identify the assailant. However, Gaddafi was unfortunately murdered 2 months later on November 10th, 1996 before he could be interviewed.
Wow.
A Las Vegas homicide detective who oversaw the case claimed it got, quote, the same treatment as any other homicide here, end quote.
What does that mean?
We don't care about anyone who died. We don't care if he was famous. We treat everyone the same.
Alright, let's get to some of the main theories.
Alright.
The first theory is from former LA Times journalist Chuck Phillips, who believes that Orlando Anderson, the Crips gang, and none other than Biggie Smalls are responsible for the murder. Chuck Phillips and the LA Times investigated the murder over the course of
They were like, Biggie Smalls had something to do with it. Like I said, seeing this video, so I know the motivations of it, which does make sense. But I'm gonna let him say the motivations first. Then I'm gonna give my idea on that.
a year and came up with the following conclusions based on anonymous sources. Conclusion 1. Members of the Southside Crips were involved in the shooting as retaliation for Tupac's beating of Orlando Anderson. Conclusion 2. Orlando Anderson was the shooter. Conclusion 3. Biggie Smalls paid $1 million for the murder of Tupac and supplied the gun.
No! How would anyone know that?
Well, he
Also, why would you supply the gun?
because he wanted it done with his gun, reportedly.
Why?
That's how things go down, I guess. I don't know. Speaking of Biggie, let's go over his potential motive for wanting Tupac dead. Biggie's year-long feud with Tupac was well known, and at the forefront of the East Coast-West Coast rivalry, including a reported verbal altercation and diss tracks. In one track titled Hit 'Em Up, Tupac claimed he had slept with Biggie's wife, Faith Evans.
How does that one go? Is that hit 'em up, hit 'em up? Or is
No,
that
what
different?
side?
I'm actually curious.
I think you should just never do that again.
Where we ride,
No,
where
no,
we
no.
get,
Strangely, according to Phillips, neither Biggie nor anyone connected to Biggie was questioned by the police.
Wow, okay.
As for Orlando Anderson, the believed shooter, he was shot to death in May 1998. Up until his death, Anderson denied responsibility for Tupac's death and was never charged. The second theory is from former LAPD detective Russell Poole, who believes that Suge Knight set up the murder. Despite Suge Knight also being hit in the shooting, Detective Poole believes Suge Knight had motives. Motive 1. Suge Knight apparently owed Tupac a lot of money, by some accounts $3 million, a theory corroborated by the fact that Afeni Shakur, Tupac's mother, sued Death Row and Knight in 1997 for mishandling funds and taking millions of dollars away from Tupac. Motive 2. Tupac intended to leave Death Row Records, Suge Knight's label. Tupac had
Okay, motive 2 makes sense. Motive 1 would make sense too, especially because I'm pretty sure you would straight up kill somebody if you owed them money. I mean, why not? Oh yeah, and even though Suge Knight got grazed, I actually believe this also. I feel like he was supposed to get grazed, because if he didn't get grazed, they'll believe that he actually had something to do with it. Which makes sense if you're planning to kill someone and you're the biggest guy in the car. Suge Knight was the biggest guy in the car, and if you look at the picture of the last picture ever taken of him and Tupac, which people also say is fake because he doesn't have his Machiavelli tattoo on his neck. Which yeah, I saw he doesn't. And one thing that's actually double of Tupac, like it's a fake one, and it's supposed to look like it's real with actual stuff in it to make it look like it's blood, but it's really not him because of not him having the tattoo. They actually think it's from one of his music videos. They also say his autopsy is lined up like, if you line it up with the point where he wakes up in bed from California Love. So I mean, that also makes sense to me. I mean, like I said, the dude read a book on 7 days on how to fake his death, which then said that in 20 years later, that's when you make your comeback, and it's supposed to be like bigger and better and famous. But that will make sense. If you're going to kill somebody, you will fake it so then it looks like that you were injured and that you actually didn't intentionally kill him. Because if I was gonna kill somebody in a drive by and I got shot, and like if I got shot and I'm complete dead, then yeah, I probably wouldn't have nothing to do with it. But if I got shot and just it went right through me and I got hurt and just grazed, and no one's gonna think I had nothing to do with it. But if he just got shot and I had no injury on me, and like I said, the biggest guy in the car, Suge Knight was the biggest guy in the car, so he was the easiest target for someone to hit. In the picture, Tupac is leaning back. The guy supposedly shot from in the back of the car because they had a good shot, a good clean sight of Tupac and Suge Knight. But if Tupac was leaning back, they would have to aim straight at Tupac just to shoot him. Like I said, Suge Knight is big. He's really a big guy in the front of the car. So a bullet would have to hit Suge Knight before it would hit Tupac. But Tupac was very small and very, very skinny. At the point where it'd be kind of hard to shoot him. Cause like I said, he was leaning back. They said they pulled the car up close to the car next to him, and they gave it to the guy in the back. The dude said he had a clean shot of both of them, but it was mainly Suge Knight because Suge Knight is big.
Recently fired his lawyer David Kenner, who in addition to being Suge Knight's lawyer, also wrote up Tupac's agreement with Death Row Records. And sure enough, a week after the firing, Suge Knight invited Tupac to the fateful boxing match. Here's some other things that don't look good for Suge Knight. Shortly after the brawl in the MGM lobby, Knight stopped to make a phone call while everyone else was fleeing the scene. Knight also insisted that Tupac ride with him in his car after the boxing match.
Was it on Tupac's
Which was
side
actually
that they shot at the car, or was it on Suge Knight's side?
The side of the car that Tupac was on.
So how'd they know that they got Tupac's side?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So how would they know which side Tupac was on?
Yeah.
Unless somebody told them.
Right.
Orlando Anderson.
Which, like I said, his uncle Keith Davis, because he was the nephew, Keith Davis said that one lane was full, the other lane wasn't, but turns out it was cars also in front in the same tight spot. And they specifically went on Tupac's side and not Suge's side, which they knew where Tupac's side was. Cause they said they heard them calling Tupac's name and Suge's name. They pulled up. They were like, one lane was completely full. There was only two cars. They could have got on Suge's side, which I think they knew that they were like, they didn't. They actually said they didn't pull up. There's other theories that they did. But they were like, when they were coming up, the lane was full. So they went on Tupac's side and shot the car. They're like, they didn't know it was Tupac, but I feel like they did know. Cause like, how would you know that exact spot is Tupac's side? And then you claim you don't know, but you actually was on that side. You was actually there. Huh? But you was like, you picked that specific side of the car. So yeah, there's also that he actually made a call and told them that he'll be on the passenger side, because they were like, Orlando actually left, which wouldn't make no sense either, because how would Orlando really know if where Tupac went, where he was going? Because they were like that Tupac had a show, but they're like, he would probably leave not knowing where he was going first, if he was going back to the hotel, if he was going back to perform. I know this video is going to be very long because I'm also throwing out my theories. But yeah, there's that. Then there's also, how well did they know that was Tupac on that side of the car? And also, how did they, and like I said, how would Orlando know what car Tupac even got in? I'm pretty sure he probably fled the scene after the fight. Or he probably left and hid somewhere like hide, but how would he know that was Tupac's car? How would he know where Tupac was at? How did he know Tupac was gonna be on this road? I mean, exactly on that road, which his uncle also said they basically drank and got stuff. They heard the girls call their name, but like I said, it's weird how they knew exactly what side Tupac was on for them to shoot Tupac. Now that is something weird. I'm gonna play another video talking about his death. There's a guy who actually makes a little more sense than kind of they do. Then I'll probably play a documentary on his life a little bit, or before, I don't know. But yeah, besides that, let's get back.
The man who Tupac fought with in MGM also contradicted his initial testimony, at first saying Knight was part of the MGM brawl, but then later saying that Knight was trying to break up the fight, stating, quote, "I seen him pulling people off of me," end quote. Many people believe this turnaround happened because of a payoff by Knight. Detective Poole also...
Which I believe he didn't really pull people off because he was still fighting, in the surveillance camera, he was kicking him, like stepping on his head and actually beating the mess out of Orlando. And when I mean being the mess, I feel like he's the reason why Orlando probably started to bleed. Because literally, in the video, he literally stepped on Orlando's head. Just... it sounds weird, but it's like, it makes sense because the video, he literally got up, he started beating on his head, and he started stepping on his head, and it was just like all of that, and then he was like punching him and throwing him around, and then like I said, you can see Tupac fall back, and you don't see him no more in the fight. You don't see him run back, nothing like that. So I feel like Tupac only really got 2 hits. But after this, I'll show you the surveillance.
Claims the bullet wound Knight says he received that night was never verified by the hospital, the police, or any other witnesses.
And that's also weird how they did not confirm if he actually got shot, or if no one actually knew if he was or wasn't shot.
So nobody knows if he got shot.
Exactly.
Whoa!
However,
Really? How did that get through?
However, this contradicts the 2014 report from former Las Vegas Police Sergeant Chris Carroll, who stated that Knight's head was, quote, gushing blood, and that he had, quote, clearly been hit in the head. Carroll also mentioned that Knight showed legitimate concern, and that, quote, it wasn't acting.
Why would he be like, it's not acting?
That, right. Now that is something that would caught my eye. When he says not acting, Suge had concern. If I was acting, planning something, I would have concern on who shot. Because if I didn't, it would be suspicious. And I would probably pay a police officer to say, oh, it's not acting. That this ain't the guy who actually shot him. You have to think when you're planning something or when you're going to plan something. Because if you're going to be an idiot and plan something, be like, oh yeah, you'd be like, oh yeah, I know who shot us, and yeah. They're going to think, they will know that you're the culprit. But he had this planned out really well. So, I mean, there's that.
Acting. That sounds like something that someone would pay you to say, like...
You don't trust that Chris Carroll was a licensed casting director and wouldn't notice
Yeah.
bad acting from good acting?
Well, he said that later, though, so he must have heard the rumors that people thought it was Suge.
That could be also why he said this, quote, this is not the guy who had him killed. It's ridiculous.
To me, yeah, this makes way more sense than Biggie. This guy would only benefit from Tupac dying because then he's going to be able to get more money because then obviously his music will become immortalized now.
And
No.
he'll still own everything.
Right.
Here's my thing about
Suge Knight right now is his net worth is $200,000 right now. He went from $1 million something to $200,000 because he owed the IRS double $1 million, which also concludes that maybe he killed Tupac because of what did I just say? Because he owed him money.
it. I can't see someone putting themselves in the line of fire in a murder scenario. I just don't. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
The third theory is from LAPD detective Greg Kading, who believes that Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy or Puff Daddy, and CEO of the East Coast record label Bad Boy Records, orchestrated Tupac's death. Detective Kading got a Crips gang member named Keith Davis to confess on tape that P. Diddy paid him $1 million to carry out the murder of Tupac and Suge Knight. Keith Davis confessed that Orlando Anderson, who was Davis's nephew, was the one who pulled the trigger. And Davis also admits to being in the car when he recounts the night that Tupac was shot. Quote, Orlando rolled down the window and popped him. If they would have drove on my side, I would have popped them, end quote. Keith Davis claims the motive behind P. Diddy's hit was due to fear that Suge Knight would strike first, and that Tupac was only included in the hit because P. Diddy was pissed off about Tupac's song Hit 'Em Up. Furthermore, before Tupac was killed, he was shot multiple times on November 30th, 1994 at Quad Recording Studios in New York City. Tupac repeatedly stated that he suspected people associated with P. Diddy were the perpetrators, a suspicion corroborated by a 2011 confession from Dexter Isaac, who claimed he was hired by a P. Diddy associate to rob Tupac that night. However, P. Diddy has denied involvement in the murder, stating, quote, this story is pure fiction and completely ridiculous.
Okay, he was friends with him.
And for what it's
So
worth,
was,
Keith Davis was
Biggie.
reportedly looking at 25 years to life due to unrelated activities if he didn't reveal his secrets.
If you're saying that someone paid you $1 million, like wouldn't there be some kind of receipt to say that?
You don't want a paper trail.
But
Why
there-
would you establish a paper trail?
Okay, all right.
Overruled.
Listen.
The next theory is that the Jewish Defense League.
What?
Let him finish. Let him finish. Oh,
Jewish-
there are cops coming up.
Oh shit, really?
Whoop, whoop. It's the
The
sound
next
of
theory is
police.
that the Jewish Defense League, an extremist pro-Israel group, killed Tupac. The FBI had files of alleged death threats on Tupac from the Jewish Defense League, which has been classified as a terrorist group by the FBI. Other than that, there's really not much to see here.
I mean, they did offer threats.
They did offer
They're the only people who said, I'm gonna kill you.
You know what? You have a point. The last theory I'm going to go over is pretty silly.
Aliens. Finally, I believe you. Yes, of course. Together, working at last.
Some believe that Tupac is in fact still alive and faked his own death. In 2015, some news outlets reported that a man named David Myers claimed
That's from
he
a
helped
fake
Tupac
thing.
fake his death and that Suge Knight, among others, helped as well. However, this story seems to have originated from a fake news site, so take it with an enormous grain of salt. Some believe Tupac is alive and well in Cuba.
I want to believe that's the truth.
Yeah.
Because I think it means so much more for like
Humanity?
yes, exactly.
Yeah. Everything would be better in the world if that were true.
Yes.
Yeah.
It seems clear to me why it's unsolved. There's a lot of holes. There's a lot of eyewitness and a lot of people who aren't talking.
Who would have enough power